Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Monkey Wrench. I'm Kelly, the monkey with the wrench. Today we're going to do a video on this Champion brand dual fuel 4375, which, as you can see there, it's 4375 starting watts, 3500 running watts, and that is on gasoline, and it's slightly lower for propane, 4000 starting watts, 3150 for running watts. And there's a sticker right down there. If you zoom in, you'd be able to see it. In fact, let me see if I can zoom in so you can tell which is which. Gas is running at a little higher RPMs than propane, and it's going to give you just a little bit more output. Now, this is going to be the same on any dual fuel generator that you have. And this was a video that was requested actually by a friend who doesn't remember how to run the generator, and if she ever needs it in the future, like she did when the hurricane came through, she can just go to my channel, pull up her favorites, and look at the video, and then go, oh, remember how to put it together and how to use it. So this will be good for her, and this will be good for you guys, because any dual fuel generator is going to work pretty much the same. When I have access to a dual fuel generator, I prefer to use propane. That's that's peanut. That is the normal barbecue grill 20-pound propane bottle, and that's what I prefer to use, because that thing will run and run and run and run and run, and it's propane. You know what I mean? It's easy to store. It's a lot safer to store. And the other reason is this generator has not run in, I don't know, 5 months or something, 6 months. And when you have a carburetor on any kind of machine, lawnmower, generator, boat, if you let it set for a while with ethanol gas, the ethanol turns to crap. It messes up the inside of the carburetor, and you end up having to bring your machines to somebody like me, or watch a video and work on them yourself, because they won't start, the carburetor's dirty. So I prefer propane for many, many reasons. Propane is a whole lot cheaper than gas, easier and safer to store, and doesn't leave your carburetor dirty. So I expect zero issues with this thing starting, and it's real simple to set up. So let me cut up the camera and show you what I mean. Now, each generator, each machine that you have, that you're going to be working with or owning, is going to have its own little differences. In this case, this one has one 120 watt plug, or volt plug, I'm sorry. 120 volts is what you run your everyday appliances with. Microwaves, coffee makers, anything you plug into a wall socket. This one also has a larger style, still 120, for running pigtails, like to an RV, something like that. And then it has your regular plugs as well. And in this particular case, each one of these has a breaker. This is a 30 amp breaker, so if it trips that breaker, you would have to push that back in. Peanut, watch out, watch out, watch out, buddy. And this is your on-off panel for your electric. So if that's in the off position, these will not work. Yours is going to be different, everyone's is. This one is a very simple generator. Now what I want to show you here, make sure that you're looking at the correct place here, is everything on a dual fuel generator is going to have two modes. That's why this is telling you gas runs this, propane runs this amount. Well, you have two ways to hook this thing up, and this has a slide panel on it. So on this side it has a cutoff. One way is on, one way is off. That's to turn the propane on and off that goes to your carburetor. You know it's in the off position, because if it was still in the on position, I wouldn't be able to slide this door over. It hits. So if I push that back, turn it off, now I can slide that door over. In other words, this little plastic piece here that slides back and forth is the difference, to show you that you can't hook up gasoline and propane at the same time. Now, this machine is never run on gasoline, but it's very simple. Fill up the can, turn on the fuel. There's an off switch right here, an on-off switch to turn off the generator. This is for turning off the power station. This is for turning off the generator. So you would turn on the fuel, fill this with fuel, start the machine. When you're finished, you'd shut it off, turn off the fuel. In this case, I'm going to be using propane. So I want to show you just how easy that is, because I'm going to take this and I'm going to screw it on in place. Hand tight is fine. When you're dealing with propane, you would smell it if it was leaking, and hand tight is perfectly fine. Now I'm going to take this other end and I'm going to connect it right to my propane tank. Again, hand tight is fine. Now whenever you're turning on propane, you always crack the valve just a little bit to make sure nothing's going to fly off because you didn't screw it on right or something. And then go ahead and just turn it on all the way. Now because we're in our off position here, we're not bleeding any propane out. So you don't have to worry about that. As long as this is in the off position, the propane only goes as far from the tank to this off valve. Now when you're ready to turn it on, literally all you have to do is turn it on. You will eventually smell propane coming out of there, but right now I have propane coming through this line and right into my carburetor. So I'm going to turn that back off for just a second, and I'm going to reset the camera so you can see how easily this thing starts. So all I'm going to do, and there's also a on and off position here marked on the plastic, but I'm going to turn that on. I'm going to find my pull cord, which was right where I was standing, and I'm going to start the machine. I want to make sure everything's good. Okay, I double checked everything. Basically everything you've seen is just how you turn it on. I made sure that everything was in the right position. I had messed with the off switch on this side, so I turned it back on, turned it back off, pushed that back over, and I pulled it 3 more times, and it started. The reason for that, my guess, is that I had turned on the propane and spoke to you and gave it a second to fill up, but then I turned it back off and I turned it back on, and basically the propane had not reached the firing position inside the motor. So I haven't done anything to it. And when you're running on propane, all you have to do is cut off the propane gas. So the shutoff is different for carburetor than it is over here. Over here it has an actual trip switch here that gets depressed when you slide that over into the gas position. And to turn it off, you turn off the fuel on this side. This unpresses, so when you want to shut it off, you push that back into the off position. So there's actually 2 things you have to do to turn it off when you're running with gas. But when you're running with propane, just give it a second to make sure that the pressure is good, that it fills up the carburetor the way it's supposed to. Turn it back off when you're finished. It really is that simple. I don't know if you can hear that, but I can hear the oops, I didn't turn the propane off. Won't hurt anything. 20 pounds of propane is a huge amount. Anyone that has a gas barbecue grill knows that even if they grilled every night, that propane would last, 4 or 5 months, sometimes last a couple of years. It's crazy the amount of propane that actually gets used. It's so much more efficient running on propane, and all generators take care of their own RPMs. There's not a throttle setting like there would be on, say, a riding lawnmower. It's one size fits all. So when that thing's running, it's running at a certain amount of RPMs it's supposed to. In this case, it's, I think, 3,600 RPMs. No, 3,000 at idle, 2,800. If I were to plug a load into it and it needed to manufacture the power to keep something running, say a refrigerator, which we did plug into this thing, and it runs a full-size fridge, no problem, along with a microwave and a few other things. When the RPMs are needed, they'll surge on their own. So you don't have to be afraid to use propane. I work on, thousands of machines every year. Hell, I have over 250 videos on this channel alone. And I prefer to use propane. The reason I started making videos was A, for customers, and B, because I was going to turn a riding lawnmower into a propane powered lawnmower. I've used propane powered forklifts and backhoes and bobcats, and I just love it. It's cheaper, it's more economic, it's safer. And if you get a dual fuel generator, one that's made specifically with the carburetor that can run propane, then you're safe as your barbecue grill. In other cases, you can convert a regular generator, regular lawnmower over to propane. Usually means you have to buy a special carburetor or an adapter to make your carburetor work with propane. But it's really simple, really easy. So I hope this video helped. Again, your on-off switch, this gate slides over in case you need to turn on the actual gasoline fuel. This will never be used with gasoline unless the world crumbles. She's got a full tank of propane here, and then there's another one over there in the shed, and that would last her quite a long time. Do your own research on how much propane per hour that your machine uses, but it's very simple. Got your on-off there, you got your connection there. It's just as easy to use as a barbecue grill, and you don't have to be afraid of it. So thanks for stopping by. Hit the like button on your way out if you don't mind. It's somewhere between my chin and my balls, and we'll see you soon.